In this video, I'm gonna show you how to play the KD Annie reroll comp in set 10. So the comp has basically been dominating the meta the entire set. It even got nerfed a little bit with her headline item, but it still seems to be broken. Just take a look at the, lowest average placement right here. It's literally the second lowest average placement out of all the comps. Just regarding the stats alone. So, I mean, the comp itself is really straightforward to play. These are basically the 6 main units you always play in the comp. So it's gonna be Annie, Kennen, Lilia, Echo, and Nico, and then just either Ahri in the late game, or you play what's it called, Seraphine in the early game, because they have the same traits. You can just put a blue buff on Seraphine, or the items you get for Ahri on Seraphine, and then you sell her and put in Ahri once you get her. So what you do in the comp is if you get some of these items components and you get a emo headliner, then you just start saving up your economy. And you never level up, and once you're at level 5, you start slow rolling for the 3-star Annie. You can also pick up all the Echoes and the Nikos you might find. And since you're already rolling for a 1 cost, you can also roll for Kennen and Lilia. But if you don't hit them, before you hit the Annie 3, you can just skip 3-starring them, but it's like, if you get them for free, it's really good. Get some more frontline. That will save you a lot of HP in the early game, especially. But if you don't hit these two, you can just leave them at 2-star. It's not that big of a deal. What's more important is after you 3-star Annie, is that you start leveling up, putting in your comp, and hitting either a 3-star, Echo, or a 3-star Nico usually, so you have some sort of front line. And then you just put your tank items on whichever 3-cost unit you think you're going to hit. So let's say I get a lot of Nikos and I'm just gonna itemize her and leave my, Ionic Spark and perhaps my Sunfire on Echo. Just so we have that, burn, that anti-heal and shred. So this is really good on your secondary tank, just to help Annie do more damage. And yeah, that's pretty much it for, the core of the comp. So you might ask yourself, but what do I do if, what units do I put at 7 or 8? So it's pretty straightforward. You just play whatever you hit. It's not that big of a deal in my opinion. If you get, a random 2-star more than you get the, Blitzcrank, you can just put in 2 more Sentinels. Or even the same story here. If you get a fresh Amumu or a Yorick, just go for 4 Guardian. Just more frontline for your 2 carries here in the back. Headliner for Annie. So then you just throw in either Vex or Poppy and also Amumu. So that is really strong as well. But you can even be more flex and perhaps just put in a random Sona and for the healing, and then you put in a Alawi, and this way you're super tanky. So that works as well if you get a random Ginso perhaps. But let's look a bit at the items here as well. So in many comps in TFT, you should slam whatever items you can, just to save HP and tempo and all of that fun stuff. But in this comp, you actually only build 2 items, since you need to headline your Annie, right? And you also need to build a Spear Sojin and a Nashers. You basically only build these items on Annie, and this is because it works so well with her ability. On her, every 4 cast, she gets attack speed, and she casts another ability, so she does more damage, gets a lot of attack speed, and this ability then has only 50 mana, right? So if you get a Spear Sojin, her attacks give more mana, And then Nashers, you get forward attack speed, and she casts so often, she's more and more attack speed, it's really broken. She just casts so much, and that's why we can even take a look at the stats so you guys see what I'm talking about. Like a Jewel Gauntlet, you get 1 higher placement, but if you build the Shojin or Nashers, you get a lower placement. So you basically see pretty much every item give you a higher placement, except Spear Shojin and Mana Saint, because they work with mana. So that's pretty much it for the comp. So I'll get straight into a video where I show you how to play the game in real time as well. So right off the bat, this is pretty much the best setup you ever can wish for when you're playing this comp. I get the Emo Headliner, which is by far the best headliner for Annie. And I also got, you know, a BF sword at the start and even a tier. So I got my Shojin, which is half of the 2 items that I need, which is a great start. I also find a Cannon and a Lilia here, which are 2 of the other 1-cost units I need. So look at the augments. I'm just gonna roll the mid and the right one. They don't fit in the comp. So these are all 3 really good augments for the comp. Pumping up gives me attack speed. Return on investment is good because I reroll. Inspiring Epitaph is also good, just because it gives us more tankiness. I feel like this is the highest cap for my board. Like late game, I will be strongest with this augment, just because I get more frontline to tank for Annie. So I decided to go for it this game. But honestly, pumping up could have been good just for her to get even more attack speed and to get more mana. So I could see that that is arguably even better in this case. In the early game, you basically only care about making as much econ as possible. You're pretty weak in the early game, usually. You might kill some units, but you're probably not going to win streak that much. It's basically, in my opinion, is one of these comps where you try to save as much SP, you know, and then you turbo spike once you hit that 3-star, right? So I'm just gonna play some random guardians now for the front line, so Annie has time to heal some units and for us to save HP. But I'm never like going to lose econ for buying some unit that I don't have in the early game. I basically value my gold a bit more than my HP. That's why I have a pretty weak board, right? I used to play whatever I can. But here's the exception to that rule. And that is Heartsteel, right? Since we're already lose streaking, why not put in Heartsteel, you know? It's really lucky that I get it this early. So thanks for that. But yeah, that's really nice, right? We might get some free items, might get some free gold. So that's something I do a lot when I play, and I feel like it's working really good for me. Is I usually never play like only Heartsteel, like that I try to go for Heartsteel. I just throw it in my comps randomly, because then you know what you're gonna pivot into. Like my last game, I'm gonna show you a video for my next video on how I play Heartsteel. And what I did is basically I played Yone reroll with Crowd Diver, you know that comp. But then I just threw in Heartsteel for like half of the game. And I just got super strong once I pivot out of it. And this is kind of what I do here, right? I'm rolling for, you know, my Annie units and all of that. But I'm just playing this random Heartsteel 4 now. Since I already lose streak, I get a lot of econ from that. And as the cherry on the cake, or whatever you wanna say, I used to get a lot of, you know, Heartsteel stacks as well, which is kind of perfect. And I'm also gonna slam that Steadfast Heart, just so we save some HP, kill some more units. So here, stationary support is really good. Uplink, I think it's not necessary. We have enough mana regen. I need more frontline than I need, you know, damage for Annie. So I'm gonna reroll stationary support just because I don't have my tank items yet. So I feel like getting this, you know, Bramble and Dragon Claw is just really good. So now we have 3 items on a tank, which is gonna make me very strong. give me a lot of front line for Annie. And we basically have all the items that we need for Annie already. We only need one bow for Nashers. So even though I could slam Warmogs here for Steadfast Heart and, you know, value for those kinds of tank items, they scale HP. It's just better for me to hold this because I need to get this last item on Annie. It's like the only item you build on her. So here we get a cash out. We just get a Mumu free, we get a MF. I mean, that was 6 gold only, but that's a pretty big difference, in my opinion. That's like getting, you know, 3 rerolls for free. But that's pretty much it for the horse deal. We're gonna sell it now. We got our cash out. We're not gonna greed it. We got the value. Now we have our units that we need to play. So we're just gonna pivot out of the comp into the real comp. And yeah, now you see we're at pretty much 50 gold. We're at level 5. I still have a lot of HP, so we don't need to panic just yet. We're just gonna start to slow roll into our board, and then we're gonna restart this Annie. But onto the carousel right here. I'm just looking for that bow. So we see a Mumu there, but it got stolen from us, so that was a bit sad. But it's all good. We're just gonna pick up Sunfire Cape for our second belt right there instead, which is really good, of course. You always want some sort of anti-heal and burn in your team comp. Is a good rule to follow, right? So I'm gonna put that on some secondary tank. We're gonna put it on Lilia over Kennen, just because Kennen is range, so he stays away from the units. And it doesn't get in range to proc the Sunfire that well, unlike Lilia, which is the runs at them. So she probably gets in the range for another Sunfire Baron. Then you know what Kennen would do. So as you can see here, we're actually really strong already. Like, just getting these units in is such a big diff. So the real spike is when you get to level 6 and you put in, you know, that Echo, I think it is, we need. And then we get the Spell Weaver, Sentinel and true damage. But since we're so strong here, I'm not even gonna level up because then I lose econ. We hit a 3-star Annie, so there's like no way we lose in this stage of the game when I get that power spike. So I know that I'm strong enough to win this fight without needing to level up here. So then we save like 2 econ from not leveling here, which is pretty nice. It's also 1 round before the wolves, so, you know, leveling up before a minion round isn't usually the play. You usually want to level up after the minion round so you get more value, because minion round and you have 50 gold, you know, then you get 5 econ for free. You don't have the chance of losing against an opponent, you know. Meanwhile, if you level up the round before a minion round, then you're at a minion round with less econ after. That makes sense. And now we got Echo, so boom, is 3 more traits right there, really good. And since we already slammed like 7 items, I don't think we're gonna get like a blue buff and BIS on Ari, so I'm just gonna slam Thieves Gloves. Basically, whenever you have multiple carries, secondary carries, you know, good units, it's always really nice to play Thieves Gloves. Then you get like a full itemized unit without having to buy 6 components. Here you just have 2 components and she gets 2 items and more HP and crit from the Thieves Gloves as well. So that's really nice, honestly. And onto the augments. Since I have a Thieves Gloves and since I have a Sunfire Cape, you get so much value from Cybernetic Bulk. I usually always take this augment when I have a Sunfire and a Thieves Gloves, because then you spread out your items so much. I used to get a lot of more HP on my units. So in those cases, this argument is just broken. As well as it even scales with, you know, my tank items on Nico there. She's gonna get super tanky with that HP scaling. And we're just temporarily putting in a Nor because we didn't have anything better to play right. Just for that 4 super fan. Give me some more, you know, Omnivamp and HP on my Annie. And in case maybe a Kali jumps on her or something like that. You never know, right? So it's a low safety precaution. But we're still just playing fully econ here because we're pretty stable, honestly. No one is beating us, we're getting a 5 streak. And in this case, you just need to think to yourself, how do I make this game a second or, you know, a first even? And usually the case is to try to save as much econ. And once people catch up in strength, like when this guy hits his 3-star MF, we're gonna need to find a way to power up our comp again. This Annie 3-star is good for now, of course, but she's gonna get outscaled. She's a 1-cost, right? So we need to find a way to win the game. And that's gonna be by leveling up or hitting some 3-stars, right? So it's just time to econ up as fast as possible, right? So on to this guy, he's playing an Akali, so this could be pretty dangerous. Oh, it's actually not the... Oh, it's a true damage Akali, so she doesn't jump to the backline. Then maybe we're chilling here, right? Yeah, it's all good. Not even close, baby. Oh, this guy is playing like double Sunfires. And the golden egg. He seems to have very low HP though. I wonder if he hits that cash out even. We'll have to see then. So on the items here, I don't really know what I'm looking for. Like we have pretty much all the items we need. I could do with a spark or a static shield for the shred, but other than that, I don't really need any more items. I just want to spread my components out on all my units for that cybernetic bulk. So we're gonna need to spread out our unit or the items on our units because we're basically at 600 health per you know, item on our units. So we're gonna give that to Echo, you know. I'm actually gonna build both items on him just because Echo is broken. But it might bend the play to just you know, give 2 components to maybe Kennen and Amumu just to, because that would give me 1k HP. I think that actually might have been the play there. I don't know if there's any mathematicians who can calculate which was the right play. Let me know. I'm a bit unsure. I think it was the play to give it to Amumu and Kennen though, because I also get the, you know, the bling on Kennen of the true damage. So yeah, that was a minor int by me, but it's all good. So we're basically at level 8 here. I decided to just put in 4 UMO in this comp. Because, I mean, why not? Seems pretty good, right? I kinda wanna slow roll for 3 stars to get my Nico and Echo 3-star. So I feel like if we're gonna, you know, slow roll for those units as well, I might as well roll for, you know, Vex and Amumu, because they're 3 costs as well, so it's gonna be easy to, you know, hit all my units. But you could also make the case that it's just more worth to go level 9 and maybe put in 5 costs. I can totally see that. But since I have so many items on Nico, I feel like it's really good to just fully itemize her. And that was a really nice carousel. I got my spark there. So that's big for me. So this is also a weird case. I feel like you could have slammed the spark on Amumu for the bulk value. But honestly, I just prefer putting it on my Echo in this case because having that shred, it just deals, or it just helps Annie deal so much more damage. And if I put it on a Mumu, he's just gonna die instantly, and then Annie don't get that shred. So even though I don't get bulk, I feel like I get stronger by putting it on Echo just because I get more value out of the item. I'm gonna need to start rolling a bit more though. I don't know why I'm sitting on like 100 gold. Oh, I know why. There was one guy holding... or there was some players in the lobby that were playing Nico. So I couldn't roll for it. There was like no copies left. But I saw that it was low HP. So I decided to just wait for him to die. So then Nikos gets back in the shop. And then I just rolled for it there. So it's a bit risky, but if you're like have a lot of HP like I have in this case, you can just wait for that player to die if he's low HP. You can either do that if you're like winning, you're at first place like I am here. But if you're low HP, you can't wait for other guys to die out because you die before them. So if that's the case, then you just need to go for the level up strat and play a 2-cost instead of a 3-cost, and just try to find other units to put in. So if you're contested and you're gonna die, then you level up. If you're contested and the units that, or the player that's holding your units is about to die, then you can wait for him to die and then reroll, and you save up all your cash. Though I'm so bad at like rolling down fast, I'm not even gonna lie. You guys see, I'm not fast at this stuff, right? So finally I'm actually gonna get my bulk value. We're just gonna get this adaptive helm on Amumu. Some nice tankiness. And we're keeping the rolling going here. So this guy is actually really strong. The BIS item on Sona, it's Ginso, and he has 2 of them. So that's pretty broken. Even a static that procs so many times because, you know, all that attack speed from the Ginsos. So that's really busted. But now we got the 3-star on the Nico, which is actually a big diff. So we might actually be good. Onto this fight right here. So this is the other player. Let's see. He's playing a disco board. Do we beat it is the question right here. Surely. Surely we beat this, right? Yeah. He got some really lucky items though on that Rascal's gloves. He got 2 tank radiant item, one when he put the items on a tank. So I think that's the reason why we lost here actually. If he got some worse items, I think we could get through that tank and one-shot the backline. But since he got those 2 radiant tank items, it was kind of impossible to kill, right? Now I'm at 1 HP, I just need to reroll every single gold that I have right here. And hopefully we hit another 3-star. This is the worst 3-star we could hit, you know, because Vex without items ain't gonna do much, even though we have 4 emo, but it's better than nothing, right? I would prefer to hit Echo though, but you know, you don't always get what you want. But yeah, onto this last fight right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, sure to subscribe for more TFT Set 10 content, and I'll keep these guides coming out. Yeah, peace out everybody.